On August 12, 1983 in Manhattan Beach, California, a mother contacted police, believing her 2-year-old son might have been molested after attending the local preschool. This call marked the beginning of a case that would soon grow far beyond one family. The child attended McMartin Preschool, a long-running preschool operated by the McMartin family. Police began making initial inquiries to determine whether further action was needed. Authorities mailed letters to around 200 parents, asking them to speak with their children. This widened the scope of the inquiry significantly. As more interviews were conducted, some children began making unusual claims, including mentions of tunnels, secret rooms, and ritual-like activities. No physical evidence was found to support these accounts. In March 1984, authorities charged 7 people connected to the preschool. The case eventually expanded to hundreds of counts involving 48 children, becoming one of the largest such prosecutions in U.S. history. In 1986, after a review by the new district attorney, charges were dropped against 5 of the 7 defendants due to the weakness of the evidence. The first trial began on July 13, 1987. It became one of the longest criminal trials in U.S. history. On January 18, 1990, Peggy McMartin Buckey was acquitted on all charges. The jury was unable to reach a verdict on several counts involving Ray Buckey. A second trial for Ray Buckey began on May 7, 1990. On July 27, 1990, the jury again deadlocked and all remaining charges were dismissed. After the trials ended, public attention turned to how the case had been handled. Information about investigative issues and withheld details began receiving closer scrutiny. Shortly after making the initial report, the mother, Judy Johnson, was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. Some of her later statements were clearly delusional, yet key details of her mental health history were not shared with the defense during the case. A jailhouse informant who testified for the prosecution later admitted he had a history of perjury and had lied in previous cases to gain favorable treatment. His involvement became one of several elements that were re-evaluated after the trial. Hundreds of children were interviewed by Children's Institute International as part of the investigation. Years after the case ended, experts reviewing the recordings concluded that many interviews were highly suggestive. Children were often praised or encouraged when giving certain answers, and redirected when they did not. Years later, at least one former student publicly stated that the allegations were not true, explaining that he felt pressured during the interviews and believed he needed to say what adults expected. The case lasted around 7 years and cost an estimated $15 million, making it the most expensive criminal prosecution in U.S. history at the time. The McMartin case is now viewed as an example of how fear, flawed procedures, withheld information, and public pressure can influence an investigation. It remains one of the most studied cases in discussions about interviewing children, preventing moral panics, and ensuring fairness in the justice system.